Paul Lil Sutton.
La Lil Sutton.
Welcome to... Ooh.
Whose pussy is this?
Hey guys.
What it do, baby?
It's Leisha Dan.
We're back. We're doing an audio-only podcast while we're in the old lockdown here in NZ.
And apologies for my sick voice. I'm pretty sure I've got the Rona, but TBC.
So if she's got the Rona, then I've got the Rona. It's a family affair.
But basically, we wanted to start doing some things like for 3 wishes, like with just sound, so that we can pump them out quicker for you guys, because sometimes your questions sit in our DMs for too long and we want to be able to solve your problems timely.
Yeah, and also with there being a lockdown here in New Zealand at the moment, it's actually quite hard for us to film anything as well, because all of our housemates are at home. Love them, but it's just like we can't really take up heaps of space and expect them to lock themselves away even more than they already are while we do our thing.
Exactly. So, we've got a few questions.
We have some really juicy ones this time. I'm actually very excited. I'm going to probably do most of the reading just because Em's voice is a wee bit suck. So,
yeah, because coronavirus.
Coronavirus! And also, it's just easier. So you might get sick of me, but she'll pipe in with some good facts and info. Okay. Pass me that one. All right, so this message came through actually to my personal Instagram, but it was for us. It just so happened that it came to my DMs. Anyway, so she had originally messaged me asking if we'd talked about threesomes before, which I said that we'd kind of only sort of touched on it, really.
Yeah, like a passing comment.
Yeah. So this is her question. She said, sorry if it's like too long, and feel free to break it down however you like. But I'm just going to read the whole thing because I think it gives us a lot of context. Me and my partner had our first threesome after talking about it for a while, and at first I didn't even know if I was into girls. I consider myself straight, but then when we had the threesome, I did a lot of sexual things with her and I really enjoyed it. I then convinced my partner to let us have a threesome with a guy, and he agreed. Then he ended up doing sexual things with the guy too. He's not attracted to guys at all, and I don't think of girls romantically or emotionally at all. So what does that make us? I feel like I would consider us both bisexual, but more straight. However, I want to know what your opinions are. Are we just straight and bi-curious or open-minded? Is there an actual name or term for people that are straight but experiment with the opposite sex for fun? I don't know if this is true, but I feel like if I was to ask someone, does it make me a lesbian if I got with a girl but aren't romantically attached emotionally attached? They would say, no, I'm not a lesbian. But if I was to ask someone, does it make my boyfriend gay if he got with a guy but isn't attracted emotionally or romantically? I feel like their answers may be different, and that is why I haven't told anyone about our threesomes or sex life, because people can be really judgmental, and I wouldn't want them calling my partner gay when I know he's definitely into girls. He loves pussy way too much.
I feel like you're going to be a better person at answering that question because I've never had threesomes. But I guess her question seems like it's more around sexuality more than anything.
Yeah, it's way more about sexuality, I think, in this case, but it sort of sounds to me like you guys just need like a label for what it is that you maybe are, or because that way it gives you a bit more clarity on what you're actually doing.
Finding not necessarily groups of people, but having labels that make you feel like you're not alone or you're part of something, and that your preferences are normal just makes you feel a little bit more reassured.
For sure. And yeah, so we do reference this book quite often, which maybe...
It's a good one.
Maybe we should get, I know, Shanbooty could shut us out. So that would be nice.
It's The Game of Desire from Shan Boodram. You've heard us talk about it before. But the section we're talking about is The Kinsey Scale?
Yeah, it's called the Kinsey Scale. Sexuality is finally being recognized as a diverse and ever-changing and beautiful part of the human experience. The terms heterosexual and homosexual do not speak to the vast majority of people who may have had experiences with both. The Kinsey Scale is a rating system created by Alfred Kinsey that allows more flexibility when identifying sexual preferences. So it's kind of cool because it gives you there's a little quiz which we can link in the bio to this, and then a little description of everything. So I will read them out, and then you can kind of get an idea, I guess, from there what your preference is.
Yeah, and just like a disclaimer, sexuality is a spectrum, but this one doesn't really go into like gender fluid and trans sexuality in depth. So just it's more on a scale of how heterosexual you are versus homosexual.
Yeah. So XX is asexual, an aversion or lack of interest in sexual acts with others. X is grey asexual, a desire for romantic connections that aren't physical. A 0 is heterosexual, an attraction to only people born of the opposite sex. 1 is heterosexual and incidentally homosexual, open to isolated acts of homosexuality. 2, heterosexual and more than incidentally homosexual, open to common acts of homosexuality. 3, equal parts heterosexual to homosexual, often known as pansexual, an attraction to people regardless of gender or sex they were assigned at birth. Or bisexual, attraction to those who identify as male or female. 4, homosexual and more than incidentally heterosexual, open to common acts of heterosexuality. 5, homosexual and incidentally heterosexual, open to isolated acts of heterosexuality. And then 6 is homosexual and attraction to people born only of the same sex. I know what I am.
I actually haven't done this quiz fully, but I feel like it would be hard for me to answer or do that quiz because I've never really experimented with any other women for me to really be able to make a good judgment of whether I feel comfortable in that scenario, if I can feel pleasure in that scenario. So for me, yeah.
I think though with this, like I did the quiz and I got a 1, which is heterosexual and incidentally homosexual. So I'm open to isolated acts of homosexuality. Just being open to it,
yeah,
regardless, doesn't mean you have to have done it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think that I could have an actual romantic relationship with a woman.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be way too complicated.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's hard for us to have a relationship sometimes.
It's hard to have a relationship even with a man, you know?
Facts.
So like, but yeah, like the occasional, you know, I've made out with heaps of girls. You know that I've had like threesomes and whatnot. So like that's fun, but I don't think that I would pursue any more than that.
I don't even think I would be open to it if I'm honest.
Yeah, so then maybe you are heterosexual.
Like if I was in a scenario where there was a really beautiful woman and a really beautiful guy and we were
if they both wanted to fuck you.
They both wanted to fuck me. I think I could maybe potentially receive, but I don't think I could ever give.
Oh, I never gave.
Unless it was someone like fucking Kaylani, I would eat her pussy 100%.
I would eat Rihanna's, I think.
Oh,
Rihanna,
definitely.
I would definitely go gay for her.
Or Janae. I feel like Janae just knows what's up.
That would be weird. That would be like you eating your own pussy.
I mean, it's a twin team.
you and Janae, it is. That's actually a porn fantasy. That's
Me, Janae and Big Sean. That's a porno I want to watch.
Oh, I don't know if I could watch you, but I could. Yeah, like that would be.
I mean, you've already heard me, so you might as well see.
I have heard. Not intentionally though. I wouldn't. Yeah. Anyway, so that little Kinsey scale I think could be quite cool for our listener to have a go at with her partner, or even just listening to that, you get a fairly good idea. From my understanding, it seems like you guys are the same as me. You're just like incidentally homosexual versus actually being that way if you're not emotionally or romantically and you know, attracted.
It's just a physical, well, if you're someone who is able to have sex in just a physical act, then gender doesn't always have to play a role in influencing that.
No, and I think also like they briefly touch on here about pansexuals when you're not really necessarily attracted to someone by their gender. So if you take gender out of the equation and you're just enjoying what you're doing, then I think it's like totally normal. And not everyone else has to understand that. Like you say in your message that you don't talk to people about it, and like your sex life is 100% your business. Like you don't have to tell it to anyone else ever. Like that's personal, and you can always hit us up because we're gonna
we'll chat to you. DM us about sex. We are always down for a
honestly
long chat.
I love the chat. Like I literally had a proper chat with her for like a while, and then I was like, I can't talk about this anymore, I've got to do it on the podcast.
Oh my god, I need to stop posting stuff about porn and masturbating on the gram just because I'm in ISO, because I'm just getting too many DMs.
Well, do you know what? Actually, while we're on that fucking topic, why is everyone shooting their shot now? I literally cannot do anything about it.
You literally can't physically shoot your shot at me, just digitally. So it means nothing!
It literally can't go anywhere. At all. Nowhere.
You can't come. I can't come.
Also, I'll be honest. If you have been one of those men, if I haven't shot my shot back at you, it's not going to happen, fam.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, cool. I think we've granted the wish. Oh my god, I haven't said the in ages. The wash.
The wash.
Granted.
Or as I would say, granted.
Granted the wish. Okay, cool. So, leading into that, we've got another question. I feel like I'm heavily chatting. It's like I'm just talking to myself because of your little voice.
I'm so sorry. I can try read.
Do you want to read this one?
I'll give it a go. I'm sorry, my voice is so not sexy right now.
It's quite the cold and flu sexy vibe.
All right. I'd love to know your thoughts on guilt around casual sex. I'm horny, and if the opportunity for casual sex comes up, there is instantly an internal argument. I'm worried that I'll regret it, and it's something I won't be able to undo, but I don't know where that sentiment is coming from, and whether I should listen to it, or it's something that is an old patriarchal concept limiting female sexual liberation. You know what I mean? I know what you mean, sis.
We do. I'm also horny.
And just to give you a little background about this person, I know that she's only ever had sex in a relationship and with love in the spectrum and in the context.
Yeah.
So I found that was such a big jump for me, especially when I came out of my first relationship, because I lost my virginity to my first boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And I came out after that relationship never having sex without love. So I think it's definitely a process of learning how to dissociate sex with love and just see sex as a physical act.
Yeah. I think I was kind of like that as well. Like, because in my whole life, I've only ever had actually really long-term relationships.
Yeah.
So when I came out of the first one after like 7 years, I didn't really understand casual sex then either. And then I was in another relationship for a really long time. So again, I associated sex and love.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you don't really know how else to get on that horse until you just
get on the horse.
Get on it.
And I think also, like, just because people have casual sex and you hear people having one night stands, I don't think you should feel the pressure to do it. It's not for everybody. If it doesn't feel right with you and you get into that scenario where someone wants to have casual sex with you and you don't feel safe, don't do it.
Yeah. I think also, like, there's probably quite a lot of stigma around it. Like, if I think back on the times that I've, like, casually slept with someone,
yeah,
it's not really been, like, 100 one-night stands.
No.
Like, usually my sexual partners have been, like, more than once.
Yeah.
And I think that was something that at the time, so when I first did start having casual sex, I decided, like, you kind of can make some rules for yourself, and that's what I did. Like, I was like, oh, well, if I'm going to sleep with someone, I'm only going to sleep with this person for however long until
Yeah.
I guess we got bored of each other or fuck knows what
Someone
happened.
else came in the picture.
Yeah. But, like, if you kind of set yourself a boundary like that, so whether you're in an intimate kind of relationship with them, which isn't going to be emotional,
Yeah.
then that makes casual sex a little bit easier for you because it's like you've got a regular partner.
Exactly.
You're not dipping your
Dipping your
toes
dick.
in all the
Yeah.
ponds or whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, you can start off by just maybe having one casual partner, but that can also be a little bit dangerous because your casual partner could become your lifelong partner.
Yeah, especially because you're putting your eggs in one basket. But I did say, like, to her briefly, like, you don't have to jump straight into sex. Just talk to people, flirt with people, kiss people, see how you feel kissing a stranger. Making out is fucking amazing. And, like, I feel like once you have when you kiss someone, how the sex is going to be. A little bit.
The sex, definitely. It's like my own scale.
Yeah.
I know if they're a really good kisser, then I know that they're going to be a really good
bang.
Fuck.
Well, also it's the chemistry, if you have the same chemistry. But, like, you know when you fucking make out, like, you're not just kissing, you're grabbing each other, like, you're pulling at each other.
It definitely depends on where the fuck you're making out with this person, though.
True.
Because if you're in the club and you're maybe just, like, dancing with someone and then you make out, that's also very fun.
Did you just say dance?
I did.
You said it like an Aussie.
Like you. I know. I was hoping you weren't going to notice. I was like, going to just keep chatting. But you know, like when you are though, you're in the club and you might be dancing with someone, and then you make out with them or whatever. I mean, I don't normally really grab on them that much because I don't really know them.
Yeah, no, not in
like,
public.
In those times, it's quite fun. Just maybe do that. Like, go out when you're having a few drinks or whatever, and don't just, like, walk up to a stranger and, like, stick your tongue in their mouth.
Yeah. But also, like, refer back to the Booty Call Bible, where we talk about setting boundaries. Having casual sex is knowing where your boundaries are in order for you to be able to stay emotionally distant with that person.
Yeah. I had used to have some good rules. I don't know if I talk about them in that. Maybe I did. Like no sleepovers.
No sleepovers. I feel like you should only really text and talk outside of sex when you're arranging the appointment, rather than just chatting and texting for, I don't know, comfort. No, hey, how are you? Don't ask me how my day was.
No. I also think, like, this goes for a lot of things, actually. Know when to leave.
Yeah. And
leave. Like, read the room. As soon as you know that it's, like, kind of done, it's a bit, like, over, that's when you go. In fact, you should have gone before you noticed that.
Yeah. Facts.
Because then it just makes it less awkward. Although that is also one of the ways that you can really make a man fall in love with you. But, of course, I know nothing about that. Single life. ISO life. Lockdown life.
Cool.
But no, casual sex isn't for everybody, and you don't have to do it.
But it's really fucking fun. Like, I think what's really great once you do get past that, like, associating.
Like, honestly, it's like the first maybe 1 or 2 times you're like, oh, this is weird, and then you're like, woo!
You're like, fuck yeah. But also choose someone that, like we said before, we've said heaps in the past, choose someone with a deal breaker so that you don't fall for them. Or at least you have that.
Or even just, I mean, yeah, the deal breaker thing is a good thing, but maybe choose someone who, how do I say this? Like, that maybe you'll never see them again. So that they're just kind of, it is a one night stand and that's all it is. Like, maybe, I know that doesn't always work for everybody, but it might just be a really good way to, like, kind of get over that hurdle.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, honestly, once you do it, and then you're like,
once you pop your hoe cherry, it's like a superpower. You're like, I can fucking do this. I can get sex whenever the fuck I want. You know how easy it is to get sex when you're a girl that wants sex?
No, because I want it. Nah, but if you actually put real effort into it, see, I don't do the effort. I want it, but I'm, like, lazy.
Yeah, but, like, there was, like, a phase in my life when I was, like, just down for sex, and I'm so picky about my partners now versus when I was in my hoe phase.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
So, like, when I had those, not lowest standards, like, because now I need good conversation, I need trust, I need, like, almost like a friendship to have sex with someone. I didn't have to have that before. So that meant the people that I wanted to have sex with, I just basically had to have attraction to.
You just have to like the look of them.
I needed to be attracted to them, and I needed a bed. That's all I needed. And so it's so fucking powerful, especially when, like, the ball's in your court and you know what you want. Being able to just approach guys and be like, so you want to fuck today?
Yeah.
Not many people say no.
No, honestly, you could probably send that message to 5 people today and they'd try and break lockdown.
Thanks.
They'd be like, oh yeah, on my way. Where? No, but also at the end of the day, like, it is actually just sex. Like, you don't have to overthink it. You don't have to worry about it so much. It's, like, enjoyable. We all fucking love to do it. Like, just do it.
Get on the house.
Get on a
Get your
dick.
nut.
Ride it.
And what you said about female liberation,
It's fucking empowering, though.
it is empowering, but also, like, who cares what other people think? No one needs to know about your sex life but you.
Exactly, just like we said before.
Yeah.
Like, and also, like, it's your body, it's your empowerment, it's your liberation. Like, take it and run with it. Whose pussy is this?
Okay.
It's yours.
Granted.
Okay, so last one. This is quite cool because I think it relates to a lot of people. Gals, my question is relating to trust. I've been seeing this guy for 2 months and things are blooming beautifully. I have mad trust issues as all of my previous partners have cheated on me. Also, one was a mad narcissist, so I'm a bit fucked up. My current man has literally followed through with anything he's ever said. He's reliable. We have a very honest and raw way of communicating. We talk every night for a good hour or two. He has literally done nothing to make me think I cannot trust him. However, I have had some moments where I was triggered. There have been 2 times and we've discussed it, and his patience, kind words, and understanding of my trust issues has been the reason I feel like I can trust him. But then it happened last night, and I don't know if I should talk about it with him this time, as I know it's just my trust issue and not him, but I don't want to push him away with all this BS.
She's got to talk to him.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you don't have to, like, say to him, I don't know, when we were talking last night, it made me feel like I couldn't trust you, or that this was going to happen, or someone was there, or whatever your scenario is that you can't trust. But you should say to him, when this happened, it really triggered my past and how it makes me feel about relationships and trust. And I just want you to know that.
It's more about communicating your boundaries and your triggers so your partner can better work around you and better love you.
And I think that also helps him understand how his behaviors can affect you without even knowing. Because, like, if you think about all the weird innocent things that you do throughout your day, right? Like, you don't even realize that you maybe haven't replied to someone's text message, or you haven't done something that could be triggering someone else massively, but you've got no clue because you're just innocently getting on with your day. It's quite different when you're being shady motherfucker, because then you're constantly you're thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
So I think, if you talk to him about how maybe whatever it was that happened triggered you and what it was, then he can identify how his behavior could be seen that way.
Yeah.
And
just be more
rectify it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like he's amazing, like, to you, to be able to be so trusting and so open and patient with you. And if his behavior hasn't displayed anything that aligns with, like, your toxic behavior of your exes, then it sounds like he would be still understanding and listen to you despite the fact that it might be more frequent. Especially in the early stages when you're getting to know each other. Yeah.
I think also, like, I get quite mad issues. I don't have necessarily trust issues, but I find it hard to actually trust people, which I feel like those are not the same thing.
I'm the same, yeah.
And I think sometimes you can make something out of nothing because it's almost too good to be true.
Yeah.
So because of your triggers or your past or whatever, you tend to think, oh, well, there's something not right there, because you can't actually trust versus there not being an issue.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, that's what I would do. For me, I'm like, oh, well, what's going on then?
Why is everything going so well?
It can't be going this well. It's too good to be true. There must be something wrong. And so that could be something that you need to look at within your own traumas and how you can heal those things.
As long as you're reassuring to him that you know it's not him doing these things intentionally, that you know and acknowledge that it's your behaviors that you have to understand and overcome. And also, like, if it feels like you're going to have these talks quite frequently, why don't you guys just develop, like, a code word between you, like a safe word?
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
And then it's just like, we don't have to go into this discussion, but this is a safe word, so you know that was a trigger for me, so you can just analyze.
And I think one thing to also remember is, like, yeah, you guys are in the early stages and you're 2 months in and this is a really happy time and that's fine, but relationships are actually meant to have these hardships. Like, they're not always supposed to be smooth sailing and really easy. Like, a relationship is about learning how to love with someone else and learning how to love each other.
Yeah.
And so there's no right or wrong time to begin these things. Like if you're feeling there's things that trigger you, but you have really raw communication now, that's amazing. Use it. Don't like stop doing it because you're afraid he's going to run away from your bullshit.
Exactly.
Because like if he is, then well, fuck that guy.
Communication is the strongest tool you have in any relationship to build that bridge.
Yeah, it's the only thing that is going to rectify it, right?
Yeah.
In any relationship, like without communication, how is anyone going to know anything about how you feel at any point?
Conflict resolution.
Right or wrong.
Yeah.
If you want to tell someone that you love them, how the hell do you do that without communication?
Facts. And if you still do feel like you're struggling internally to really develop a relationship with him, that's when you can kind of seek out external support, whether that's therapy or talking to someone that you know and trust for their advice.
Yeah. The other thing, which I don't know, this could be another trigger, but like is learning whether or not you are triggered because of your past traumas or whether it's your gut telling you that there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And that's a really hard one to differentiate.
That's a really hard one for me too, because I'm like, am I projecting?
Yeah. Or is it a real, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
or are you a fuckboy again?
or are you another one, one, you know?
I literally, yeah.
But I
go through
think
that often when I meet people.
I think though your gut is always fucking right, and usually when you have that gut instinct, you're not projecting because there's already been a red flag that's popped up somewhere that you've purposefully ignored.
Yeah.
And when that gut instinct comes in and you remember that, that's when you know, okay. Time to block and
2 meter
delete.
distance. 2 meter distance.
2 meter distance and block. No, but actually, so I think that can definitely help. But like Emily said, yeah, therapy's a good one because talking is what it's all about, and therapy is another form of communication.
Therapy is amazing for having a third party to be able to look at your life objectively and actually visually identify the patterns in your past relationships and in your life for you to be like, this is your trigger, and you might not even recognize it. You might not even see what's so repetitive within your life.
I think not only that, therapy gives you a tool that you don't already have, because even if you are a therapist, you still can't therapize yourself. Therapize is not a word. It is now. But, like, there's only so much you can do because you still have to, you can do so much for your own self-growth. And we talk about this in Start With You for You. But you sometimes still need an external, especially if these things are quite serious triggers for you. Yeah. Because obviously no one wants to be hurt and no one wants to feel like they can't trust who they love or who their partner is. And ultimately, if you want to grow and have a successful, healthy relationship, then that might be a good start for you.
So today we had really great questions because you guys gave us a lot of context, and they're the kind of questions that we can work off way better because we can cater them to you
quite specifically, but also to the actual issue. Like having a little bit of background meant that we could really bounce off each other with answers and ideas. And I think we gave pretty solid advice. Now, we've got a really busy evening of lockdown. Masturbating. That's it.
Deuces.
Bye.
That's it for this episode, fam. Thanks for listening.
If you have any questions, topics, or suggestions, you can DM us on Instagram. The link is in our bio.
And don't forget, whose pussy is this?
It's
yours. Deuces.
Bye.